Welcome to the Stock Guy Analysis. Alright, let's get right into it. Today, we are digging into a really fascinating theory. One that connects BlackRock, the world's biggest asset manager, with a niche crypto miner you might have heard of, BitMine Immersion, or BMNR. You know, the biggest deals, they don't start with some big press release. They start in quiet rooms. And this theory, well, it suggests we might be hearing the very first whispers of a deal that could be absolutely massive. So let's jump right in. At the absolute heart of this whole story is a financial puzzle. We've got two major things happening at the exact same time that, you know, on the surface they look like they have nothing to do with each other. But when you start putting them together, a pretty interesting picture starts to form. And yeah, that puzzle really brings us to the main event, the big question here. Why would a giant, a titan like BlackRock with trillions of dollars under management all of a sudden get super interested in a small specialized crypto infrastructure company? It seems a little weird, right? Well, it does until you look at the bigger picture. Okay, so check this out. These are the two key pieces of the puzzle. On one side, you have BlackRock launching this huge new fund. We're talking a multi-billion-dollar war chest just for AI infrastructure and all the power it's going to need. Then at the exact same time, you look at their public SEC filings, you know, the documents where they have to say what they're buying, and it shows they're gobbling up millions of shares in BMNR, the theory we're digging into today. It says there's no way that's a coincidence. So, to really get why this might be happening, you've got to understand this kind of quiet panic that's spreading through Silicon Valley. It's this enormous problem that's threatening to slam the brakes on the entire AI revolution. And believe it or not, it has nothing to do with a shortage of computer chips. Yeah, the real problem here is just plain old physics. These next-generation AI processors, they use insane amounts of electricity and they run dangerously hot. We're seriously hitting a physical wall where the old-school data centers, the ones cooled by giant fans, they just can't handle the heat anymore. The whole system is basically redlining. And you better believe the top brass at BlackRock, especially a guy like Larry Fink, they see this coming a mile away. They get it. It's useless to invest in all this cool AI software if you don't actually own the physical stuff, the power plants, the data centers that makes it all run. Their whole strategy has shifted. To win the AI game, you have to own the infrastructure. Period. So this puts them in a real bind, right? They have a choice to make. They could build new next-gen data centers from scratch. But that takes years, like 3 to 5 years, just for permits and construction. In the AI race, that's an eternity. You might as well be standing still. The only other path, the only one that makes sense if you want to win, is to buy a company that's already up and running. They need a plug-and-play solution, and they need it yesterday. Okay, so if you're BlackRock and you've decided we need to buy, not build, the big question is why BMNR? Out of all the companies out there in the crypto and data world, what is it about this one company that makes it the perfect target? At least according to this theory. Well, the answer is all in their tech. And this is where it gets really interesting. This is their secret weapon. On the left, you've got the old school way. Giant fans blowing air on hot computers. It's simple, but it's hitting its limit. On the right, that's BMNR's specialty, immersion cooling. And believe me, this is a total game changer for anything that needs a lot of computing power. So, let's be super clear about what this tech is. We're literally talking about dunking powerful computer hardware into a special kind of liquid. This stuff is amazing. It pulls heat away more efficiently than air ever could. And that lets you run your processors faster, push them harder, and for longer, all while using less power. It's a massive advantage. You know, calling BMNR a fortress is actually a perfect way to think about it, because they're way more than just a tech company. They've been building up a treasury of Bitcoin and Ethereum. They own the actual land and the leases. They own the heavy-duty energy hardware, like transformers and tanks. So, if you're an investor, you're not just buying a cool idea. You're buying a real working, scalable asset. Alright, let's get into the evidence. This is where we stop talking about the why and start following the money, the breadcrumbs left in the public records. And it all kicks off with this one number. In the third quarter of 2023, those public filings showed BlackRock upped its stake by about 3.4 million shares. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's BlackRock. They buy a little bit of everything. And you're right. But for a smaller company like this one, that's a huge buy. And it's the timing that really makes you go, HM. And this is the absolute kicker, the timing. Just look at this. It all goes down in the exact same 3-month window. First, BlackRock launches its massive new AI fund. At the same time, they hit the accelerator on buying BMNR stock. And in that very same period, BMNR itself makes a public shift, announcing a new strategy to go after the AI market. Look, in the world of high finance, a 3-part harmony like that, that's almost never an accident. So, what this theory is really saying is, forget thinking about this as just another stock purchase. This isn't some fund manager just ticking a box in a portfolio. This looks like a strategic move. It's like BlackRock's infrastructure team identified a critical problem, that next-gen cooling problem, and they're making a direct play for a company that has the solution. It's a move born out of pure necessity. Okay, now we get to the part you've been waiting for, the big jaw-dropping number at the heart of this theory. But right after that, we have to pull back, take a breath, and look at the risks because they are very, very real. 20 billion. I mean, where on earth does a number like that come from? It's not about their current profits. Not all. This is what you call a strategic valuation. Think about it. How much is it worth to just skip that 3 to 5 year line for permits and construction in the AI race? How much is it worth to own the core cooling tech that you could then scale across your entire portfolio of AI companies? That's where that massive price tag comes from. Okay, but we have to put on our reality check hats for a second. A full-on buyout isn't really BlackRock's typical move. Plus, regulators would be all over a deal like this that puts so much power in AI and crypto infrastructure under one roof. And let's not forget BMNR is still a volatile stock tied to the wild crypto markets. A more likely outcome, maybe a strategic partnership, not an outright takeover. When you boil it all down, this whole theory lives right at the crossroads of 3 of the most powerful forces shaping our future. You've got money from its crypto treasury, intelligence from its AI enabling tech, and power from its energy infrastructure. BMNR is sitting at the dead center of that convergence. And BlackRock, well, they have the capital to own it. So what's the verdict? Is this just a wild theory, or are we actually seeing the first quiet moves of the next huge headline story? The data shows the money is moving in. The smart money seems to be placing its bets. The only question now is what happens next. You can be sure we'll be watching. Thanks for exploring this with me today. If you found this breakdown helpful, do me a favor and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. That way, you join the community and catch every new explainer as it drops.